CARES stands for concentrate, which means to focus your attention on the speaker and only on the speaker. The A stands for acknowledge. When you acknowledge your speaker, you demonstrate your interest and attention. The R stands for research. Research means to gather information about your speaker through the skillful use of questions and statements. The E stands for exercising emotional control. This means you deal successfully with highly charged messages in a thoughtful manner. The first S tells how you sense the nonverbal message of your speaker. Here is where you learn more about the speaker by observing what he's saying with his body language and vocal intonation. The second S is for structure. You've got to structure or organize the information you get through listening and observing. Concentrating, by definition, is maximizing the amount of information that you receive from a prospect by, number one, truly committing your attention to the speaker, to the prospect, and number two, avoiding or filtering out distractions. The listening process, although it's rapid, is vulnerable to a lot of noise that interrupts the communication process. These roadblocks seem to fall into three major categories: external environmental noise, external speaker-related noise, and internal listener-related noise. Let's briefly discuss each and its effect on the listening process. External environmental barriers to listening include noises in the room, other people talking at the same time, poor acoustics, bad odors, an uncomfortable room, which is too cold or too hot or too humid, or even an uncomfortable chair, visual distractions such as passers-by or outside traffic, physical disruptions such as telephone calls or visitors, or having a radio or TV on when you're trying to talk or listen. External speaker-related barriers include the way the speaker is dressed, poor grooming, disturbing mannerisms such as a nervous twitch or a jiggling change in your pocket, facial expressions or body language on the part of the speaker, and the speaker's accent or speaking style. There are a couple of different types of internal barriers. One is internal physical barriers. If it's close to lunchtime or quitting time, people are going to be less interested in listening because they're going to be preoccupied. If somebody has a headache or fatigue, or they're under time constraints or a lot of pressure, or they're in pain or discomfort, the likelihood is that the person is not going to listen with full attention. Internal psychological barriers include your inner voice that prompts you to think while another person is talking. It's being closed-minded to new ideas or material that you haven't heard before, being bored, daydreaming, personal values and beliefs that might prevent you from listening, past experiences, and future expectations. Another is the physical proximity to the speaker. If somebody is either too close or too far away from you, it may make you feel uncomfortable and block your ability to concentrate. All of these barriers can be put into two major categories beyond simply being external or internal. There are those that are within our control and those that are out of our control. We have a great deal of control over the external environmental variables. We have little or no control over external speaker-related variables. Internal psychological and internal physical barriers fall somewhere in between. There are ways that you can eliminate or minimize external environmental noise, and I would like to share some of those with you now. First, try to create a receptive listening environment, which is a place that is devoid as possible of any audio or video distractions. Second, you want a private, quiet, comfortable setting, especially in terms of temperature and seating. If you're meeting with someone at her place of business, you have less control over the external environment. But if there are a lot of distractions, such as the phones ringing or interruptions, you can recommend moving into a meeting room with more privacy. If that's not possible, look for a receptive listening environment on neutral territory, such as a quiet, out-of-the-way restaurant. Third, you need to avoid violating another person's personal space. Some people are contact-oriented, while others are non-contact-oriented. So keep in mind that when you're talking to people, some may be very open and like to communicate closer. Others may tend to be more self-contained and want to keep more of a physical distance.